This is the Mitsubishi Xpander. It's one of the best-selling MPVs in the Philippines. Is it still worth your money in 2023? Let's find out. When the Xpander was launched back in 2018, it was one of the most futuristic-looking MPVs in its class. Its angular styling made it stand out among its more rounded-looking competitors. Now, 5 years later, I think it still looks quite futuristic, at least on the outside. It got a facelift earlier this year, which adds some much-needed improvements, like these T-shaped LED headlamps over here, which are brighter and look more modern than the halogens of the pre-facelift Xpander. Now, like the pre-facelift Xpander, you have your headlights down here and your DRLs up here. The grille is finished in gloss black, and you have these chrome accents flanking it on both sides. Like the Stargazer and the Ertiga, the Xpander has a minivan's profile. It gets a short hood, a sharply raked windshield, and a large greenhouse, which is a good shape for maximizing interior space. But while the Stargazer and the Ertiga look egg-shaped, the sharp cuts and creases on the Xpander make it look less, well, egg-shaped. Like the pre-facelift Xpander GLS, this also gets 17-inch wheels, but the design has been updated. And like the pre-facelift Xpander, you also get disc brakes at the front and drum brakes at the back. The Xpander has 225mm of ground clearance, which is not only the best in its class, it actually has more ground clearance than the Montero. The GLS variant gets these power-folding side mirrors with repeaters, and they're finished in chrome. Now, the GLS gets a smart locking system, so you can lock or unlock the vehicle without having to get the key out of your pocket. Now, as long as you have the key with you, you can just press this button over here to lock or unlock the vehicle. Now, this decal over here does not come standard with the Xpander. They just recently celebrated their 60th year in the country, and this unit came directly from an event, so we have this sticker to remind us of that. Now, Mitsubishi is one of the oldest car brands in the Philippines. They've been here for 60 years, which is 25 years earlier than Toyota. Okay, so at the back it gets these updated LED tail lamps. And like the previous Xpander GLS, this gets a manual liftgate. Cargo space in the Xpander is pretty decent. With the third row seats up, it has 495 liters of cargo space, which is significantly more than the 200 liters of the Stargazer and the 153 liters of the Ertiga. Now, I'm not sure how accurate these numbers are, but it's enough space to accommodate at least 2 regular-sized suitcases. If you need more cargo space, you'll get 781 liters of cargo space if you fold the third row seats. Under the hood of the new Xpander is the same 1.5-liter naturally aspirated engine that puts out 103 horsepower and 141 Newton-meters of torque. It's coupled to the same 4-speed automatic transmission. The most significant improvements to the new Xpander are here on the inside. The dashboard is completely different. On the pre-facelift Xpander, this was entirely made of hard plastic. Here, you get some leather-wrapped panels over here, also over here. One major improvement is that this now gets a leather-wrapped center armrest. The pre-facelift Xpander didn't have that. All the touch points in the car are covered in soft touch materials. Like this armrest over here is covered in leather. You also get some leather on the sidings over here. Like I said, the center armrest is covered in leather. The steering wheel is now covered in leather. On the pre-facelift Xpander, that is made of hard plastic. You get buttons here for your infotainment screen. You also get cruise control here. The seats are covered in fabric, although it's the nice kind of fabric. Both front seats are manually adjustable. You get some piano black accents over here. Now, in terms of tech, it's definitely not on the cutting edge, but it has the basics covered. Like you get a push start button, You get a 7-inch screen, which is not as impressive looking as the ones that you find on its Chinese competitors. But you do get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is something that you can't say for a lot of its Chinese competitors. You do get a reverse camera, but you don't get active guidelines. You also now get an electronic parking brake without a hold. The pre-facelift Xpander had a manual handbrake. You get single zone climate control, and thankfully you get physical buttons over here. You get one USB-A port over here and one 12-volt outlet. Now this may not be ahead in terms of tech, but in terms of storage space, this may be one of the better ones in the segment. Like, you have plenty of storage space here for loose items. Your glove box is massive. You have a bit of storage space here for your phone. My S23 it doesn't fit. It hits the shifter. But if you have a shorter phone, it's gonna fit there. You also have quite a bit of storage over here. Like I said, you have plenty of storage underneath the armrest. You have two sizable cup holders over here. You have jug holders here on the door cards, big enough to hold my Jaywalker branded water jug. And you also have this secret storage underneath the passenger seat. So here at the second row, I have quite a bit of legroom. Headroom is also quite good. I have about 6 inches. You have a bit of a center tunnel, but it's not that high. You have one USB-A port over there, one USB-C port. You have blower fan vents over here. Now I say blower fan vents and not aircon vents because this is just a blower. It sucks air coming from the front and blows it towards the back. You also have a fan speed control knob over here. You have a foldable armrest with two cup holders. The second row seats can be moved forward and back. Right now I have it adjusted to this position where I have about 4 inches of legroom. And back here I have about an inch of knee room. Headroom is about an inch as well. Over here you get one 12-volt outlet and one cup holder. And on this side you get one cup holder. You don't get any 12-volt outlets. You don't get any dedicated aircon vents here, but the air coming from the blower fan is sufficient to cool the third row. Now, one thing that I can say about the Xpander is that it drives better than you would expect if you only saw the spec sheet. Like, the 4-speed transmission may seem archaic on paper, but it gives you a better sense of urgency than the CVTs of its competitors. Like, if I step on the gas right now, yeah, you don't get that CVT you don't get that CVT lag. You don't get that rubber band effect that you get on CVTs. It feels more like the throttle pedal has a more direct connection to the engine. Yeah, in the city I think I would actually prefer the 4-speed over the CVTs of its competitors. The advantage of the CVT can be seen on the highway, which we'll test later. In terms of NVH levels and ride quality, it's actually pretty good. You don't hear outside noise so much, and the engine is pretty quiet when you're not being aggressive with the throttle. And visibility is excellent in the car. Clear. That's pedal to the metal. 80, 90, 100. That took a while. I mean, it's not fast, but I wouldn't exactly call it underpowered, especially if you're not really going to use it for performance applications. I mean, it's an Xpander. Who's going to use it anyway for performance applications, right? So we're at 100 kph right now, more or less, and we're doing about 2,400 RPM, which is one of the drawbacks of having a 4-speed transmission. But surprisingly, even at 2,400 RPM, it's not that noisy in the cabin. You don't hear the engine revving that hard. The Xpander can be very fuel efficient on the highway, as long as they don't stay at 100 kph for too long. Just staying at 80 to 90 kph, I can get up to 20 kpl. In the city, it's also very fuel efficient. In moderate traffic, I can get up to 12 kpl. And even in heavy traffic, I can get 10 kpl. The Xpander GLS sells for 1.19 million pesos. That's the exact same price as the mid-spec Stargazer GLS. The GLS comes with synthetic leather seats, but it only has halogen headlamps. I also prefer the interior of the Xpander. It's also closely priced to the base model Honda BR-V 1.5S. And compared to the base model Honda BR-V, the Xpander GLS does come with a few more features. Now, one of the biggest criticisms about the Xpander is that it's pretty basic when it comes to tech. But at least for the GLS, I don't think it's too bad considering its price and what it's up against. No Japanese or Korean 7-seater below 1.2 million pesos comes with ADAS or a 360 camera or a power liftgate. Even among Chinese brands, very few come loaded at this price. The Xpander is the oldest MPV in its class, and although an update may be overdue, it's still competitive. But who is it for? I'd say it's for those who are looking for a spacious, comfortable, practical, affordable family car with not too much tech, but has all the basics covered. Also for those who want one from a brand with a proven track record. Mitsubishi has 60 years of it here in the Philippines.